Dr. the Honorable Peter Phillips, Minister of Finance and Planning, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Mr. Brian Winter, Mr. Peter Thomas, Chairman, JDIC, Ms. Antoinette McCain, CEO, JDIC, other members of the head table, our partners from the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Financial Services Commission, and CARTAC, distinguished guests, members of the media, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, welcome, and thank you for coming. Allow me, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the bank and indeed all of the rest of us, to extend my heartiest congratulations to the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation on its 15th anniversary. As a senior partner in the financial landscape, the bank is very pleased to partner with the JDIC in making financial education and inclusion a major thrust of its anniversary celebrations. And as a senior partner in the downtown Kingston community, we are further pleased that these anniversary celebrations have, as Petula Clark did in 1964, encouraged everyone to come downtown. So especially to those of you who are not from these parts, welcome to downtown. To get proceedings going on the right foot and in the right spirit, ladies and gentlemen, we ask the Reverend E. Don Taylor to come forward and lead us in prayer.
We pause at this time, O Eternal Father, to invoke your presence and your blessings on this Financial Markets Symposium, as we seek to promote financial inclusion through public awareness for our people. You have blessed us with a wonderful and beautiful land, filled with abundant resources in the minds and talents of a wonderful people. You have blessed us with a land rich in resources, products, minerals, to build our lives and our economy. As we seek to promote a full use of all our resources, we ask you now to bless the efforts of this symposium. Make us all aware of the need to harness and exploit all our gifts which you have so generously given to us, that increasingly our people may enjoy the benefits of all that we have for the common good. Bless those of us who are assembled here today and will assemble tomorrow. Bless those who have contributed to the making of this symposium. Crown their efforts with abundant success. We ask all these blessings, O merciful Father, for the glory of your name and the welfare of our people. Amen.
There was an interesting story in the news recently, ladies and gentlemen, about a 6-year-old boy who wrote a letter to God asking for $500. The letter found its way into the postal system, and as a joke, somebody decided to forward it to the Minister of Finance. The minister gets the letter, thinks it's the cutest thing he ever saw, and so he decides to respond. He figures $500 might be a bit too much for a 6-year-old, and he doesn't want to be spoiling anybody's child, so he instructs his secretary to send $300. The boy gets the money, is very delighted, and writes a thank you letter to God saying, "Dear God, thank you so much for the money, but I noticed you made the mistake of sending it through the Ministry of Finance, and they took out $200 in taxes." Ladies and gentlemen, my role today will be to guide you through these proceedings with minimal delay, so that we finish in time for lunch, hopefully a few Diamond League races, and as the governor will have me say, to get back to work as well. In that regard, since our wonderfully done programs in your hands already has the profiles of all of today's speakers, I won't need to spend any time introducing them, and you know quite a few of them anyway. Without further ado, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, to bring us greetings, please welcome the man who has what it takes to take what you got, our Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Peter Phillips.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. From the rate of taxation that the youngster thought was taken from him, obviously he thought that he was a regulated financial institution because we actually charge less tax than that. Master of Ceremonies, Chairman of the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation, Governor of the bank, CEO, other distinguished members of the head table, IMF representative, newly resident, Mr. Bert Vansel, Bishop Don Taylor, presenters, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all commend the JDIC for attaining 15 years and for hosting this particular seminar on financial inclusion and stability, or financial stability and inclusion. Both things are connected, obviously. But quite frankly, I think the theme is very apt because over the years, JDIC, in its own quiet and unheralded way, has constituted one of the foundations of our financial stability in the country since its formation some 15 years ago. The fact is that at this point, its coverage extends to almost 100% of deposit accounts in the country and is consistent with the international standards requiring coverage of the majority of retail depositors, upwards of 90 to 95%. Indeed, we exceed those international targets. The corporation manages the Deposit Insurance Fund, made up mainly of the premium income of insurable deposits paid by policyholders and investment income, such that the Deposit Insurance Fund is constituted by some $9.1 billion, ensuring that there is recourse in the event of crisis, which we will do our utmost to avoid. But I really want to emphasize the value of the JDIC because obviously we are in a period of significant economic change. We are embarked upon a major economic reform program, and it is important as we go through these changes that we are able to reduce any fears, apprehensions we may have by knowing that there is this bulwark of stability that is able to give confidence in our financial system. The changes which we seek will not happen immediately, and the changes which we seek will not happen without sacrifice and effort. Indeed, there will be pain before gain. But already there are hopeful signs on the economic horizon that I think it would do us well to pay attention to.
We have seen, for example, the slight but important and significant improvement in investor confidence, consequent upon the IMF's approval of the extended fund facility for Jamaica in May of this year. And we expect that this business confidence will improve further, Jamaica having passed the first quarterly IMF test. It is also the case that our inflation targets have not only been met but indeed exceeded. Inflation in the June quarter was more than 1% below the forecast range of 2 to 3%. We did exceed also our targets for the net international reserve set for the June quarter. And based upon the evidence thus far in Q2, we are seeing the prospect of a return to growth. Perhaps the best measure of the improvement in confidence is to be seen in the improvement over the last couple of months in the index of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, which recorded growth of close to 6% over the April to June quarter. All of this suggests that despite the obvious difficulties involved for many persons, the people in the public sector who have made the sacrifices in relation to their wage restraint commitments, the difficulties of arising from the significant revenue raising measures that had to be put in place earlier, and the difficulties and the sacrifices involved by those who signed on to the National Debt Exchange, the results of all of this are beginning to be seen in a positive direction, and that we are beginning to turn the ship of our economy in a positive direction. Perhaps the best news of all, from my point of view, and for which the public officials in the Ministry of Finance and the other ministries are to be commended, is the fact that the Central Treasury Management System that was scheduled for completion as part of the program for March 2014, in fact, has been implemented in its entirety for that March deadline, so that well ahead, more than 6 months ahead of the deadline, the public officials have implemented the Central Treasury Management System, which in effect means that we are no longer paying interest to borrow our own money from the private financial system. And it will result in significant savings for the consolidated fund and for smoother management of the public resources. Much more remains to be done. And as we go through these changes, one of the things that we can take comfort from is that the financial system is stable, its stability is guaranteed by, among other things, the successful administration of the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Scheme, and indeed that it is likely to continue in this path of stability for the foreseeable future. I want to thank you all again for having taken the decision to commemorate your 15th anniversary in this very significant way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. It's now my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce a stalwart in the local financial landscape, Mr. Peter Thomas, Chairman, Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation, to bring his greetings.
Minister, all courtesies to other dignitaries at the head table, and to all our esteemed other guests. As chairman of the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation, I am pleased to bring opening remarks and welcome to this symposium on the occasion of the 15th anniversary of the establishment of the JDIC. I thank the Reverend Don Taylor for his blessing of these proceedings and welcome the Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Phillips, and thank him for coming and addressing our symposium. As Minister with responsibility for financial system matters, his participation today shows his commitment to the important issues that impact financial system stability and his recognition of the important roles of the corporation and the other organizations which make up the financial system safety net. This kind of support portends well for the development of sound policy in this regard. Welcome to the bank, welcome to the Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Mr. Brian Winter, and we thank him for the use of this auditorium and the facilities and the support of the BOJ team members. I welcome Mr. Devon Rowe. I welcome Mr. Dan Inakola, President and CEO of Financial Literacy Group, Washington. Welcome to Ms. Nadine Newshome, who represents Ms. Janice Hones, the Executive Director of the Financial Services Commission. And welcome to Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest, Head of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. We indeed say a special welcome to Mr. Arjun Haripur, General Manager of the Deposit Insurance Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago and the Chairperson of the Regional Committee of the International Association of Deposit Insurers. Ms. Lade Franklin from the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago is with us, and from the Caribbean Technical Assistance Program, CARTAC, we welcome Mr. Courtney Christie, Veach, and thank him for that organization's continued support to the JIDC's work. Welcome to all our presenters from abroad and here at home. And of course, our great appreciation to the officers of government ministries and agencies, our policyholders, representatives of the private sector, our high schools, and all other stakeholders present. The corporation was established in 1998 to provide for insurance against the risk of loss of deposits from failure in the banking system. I am happy to say that as a result of sound regulation of our financial system, there has been no bank stress event requiring a call upon the Deposit Insurance Fund since its establishment. From inception, the JDIC has had public education and awareness as being among its key corporate objectives. This for the simple reason that widespread public knowledge of deposit insurance and the protections offered thereby are fundamental to the success of assuring capital safety. For depositors to have the level of confidence that supports financial system stability, they need to be aware on an ongoing basis that their deposits are protected, how their depositors are protected, what is protected, and what is the level of protection. The same is true about the importance of the matter of confidence with respect to consumers of other financial services. We should therefore be proud that consumer education is also a significant part of the development strategy of our financial safety net partners. And I am pleased that they have participated with the JDIC in this particular initiative. By today's symposium and our financial markets fair over the next 2 days, the corporation is recognizing the ongoing discussion relating to the need to widen financial inclusion. This is the bringing of a broader range of persons into the formal financial system through education and enhanced awareness. That is, through financial literacy. Without necessarily having specifically referred to the concept of financial inclusion in previous public education activities, the JDIC and the other financial system safety net organizations already effectively contribute to the objective of widening financial awareness and participation. We are pleased, therefore, that activities to mark this 15th year look at furthering the review, understanding, and promotion of financial literacy and financial inclusion. This is for the reason that the securing of the highest possible levels of financial knowledge across the nation will directly affect the potential of households and businesses to participate more efficiently and effectively in the creation of wealth for themselves and for the nation as a whole. We look forward to receiving the lessons to be learned here and to participate in the furtherance of this critical discourse. I hope that your takeaway from the presentations and debates will impact the way you view these issues and influence your own future decision-making as to how they affect these important objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Prior to getting himself mixed up in present company, our next speaker was once a lawyer and investment banker, and now, in addition to holding the reins of supervising deposit-taking institutions and monetary policy, he also harbors secret plans to revolutionize the sport of netball. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Mr. Brian Winter.
Thank you, Tony, and thanks for adding that air of mystery to my, and it's actually quite an interesting proposal, but this is not the morning for discussing netball. So another time, come back. Moderator, Minister Phillips, Peter Phillips, Mr. Thomas, Chairman of the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation, Miss McCain, CEO, JDIC, Bishop Taylor, special guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and in particular the young people from Kingston Technical High School and others present here. Good morning. Today we are promoting financial inclusion through public education and awareness. According to the United Nations, more than half of the population of developing countries in 2010 was financially excluded. In the case of Jamaica, the World Bank's Global Findex indicates that for 2011, about 71% of Jamaicans had some form of access to banking services. This is a lot better than the average of 57% for Latin America and the Caribbean. So that's good. But clearly, we can do more to improve the ease of access to financial services for Jamaicans and also promote more active and appropriate use of financial services for the unbanked and the underbanked. So while I am delighted to bring greetings to the JDIC on this occasion marking their 15th year of operation, Bank of Jamaica is especially pleased to have the opportunity to join in partnership with JDIC, the Financial Services Commission, and the Jamaica Stock Exchange to host this Financial Markets Symposium and Fair. It is generally thought that through increased access to financial services, the financially excluded can better undertake business activities, manage risks, and build financial security. Financial inclusion thereby helps to reduce poverty and improve economic opportunity. It promotes inclusive growth. So, what are the elements of financial inclusion and how do they intersect with the work of Bank of Jamaica and JDIC? Financial inclusion broadly refers to the offer of good quality financial services to the unbanked in a timely manner, at affordable prices, and through appropriate, effective channels. A recent popular channel for this type of delivery has been low-cost technologies such as mobile phones, smartphones included. Some of the more prominent models of this form of service are to be found in the Philippines, in Kenya, Pakistan, Mexico. And we in Jamaica are making progress on our own models with the release by Bank of Jamaica of the Retail Payment Services Guidelines a few months back, and the Mobile Money Pilot project, currently being conducted by the Development Bank of Jamaica with the approval of Bank of Jamaica. The introduction of credit bureaus is another important element in improving access to credit. One of the two recently licensed credit bureaus started issuing credit reports last month. This was featured in the media. I am pleased this morning to add to that, to report that the other licensee is expecting to commence operations soon. But financial inclusion is only possible when